very many people, the new year brings a lot of energy with it, and New Year's Eve can be an opportunity to really set your intentions for the year in an auspicious manner. And to me, the next year that's coming up, the metaphor I like is sort of like going ice skating down a river. And I like the metaphor because New Year's Eve itself, that moment in time when the calendar ticks into the new year, it's just a moment, but it's the start. And when you are doing ice skating, if you've done it before, you'll know that when you're starting, it can be slippery, the ice, but if you get going, get in the flow of it, get on track, then things can really flow. You can get down the river really effortlessly. But on the other hand, if you get off to a bad start, perhaps metaphorically falling on your face flat because you had too much to drink on New Year's Eve and were listening to too much loud unconscious music. You know, if you metaphorically fall flat straight away, you need to get up first, and then when you get up, you're confused, you don't even know which direction to go in. So I think using the energy that you might feel at New Year's Eve to really set a clear, sharp intention about what you want to do with the upcoming year is really, really healthy. And I just got a little list for you today. I encourage you to be creative, explore these ideas, modify them if you like, or come up with brand new ones. But let's get straight into the list with number 1, which is what I'm actually planning to do on this New Year's Eve, which is an evening of kirtan with a local spiritual community and some good friends. So for people that don't know, a kirtan is basically an evening of singing together. Usually it's involving mantras or in general lyrics that are very auspicious, usually about God and love and liberation, freedom, all the spiritual concepts that we love that are really deep, that you're singing about that, celebrating about that, and usually you're also allowed to dance if you want to. So in a way it's very similar to a typical New Year's Eve party, except that there's no drugs involved and the music is so auspicious, so good, and all those lyrics and words and the spiritual community around you, it can be really, really energizing for you. So if you like celebrations, a kirtan can be a great way to do that. And perhaps you're wondering if you have some sort of event like that on New Year's Eve in your local area, and you probably wouldn't just hear about it. It's not usually widely advertised on TV or whatever. But if you look at your local temples or ashrams, you might notice that they do some sort of a spiritual celebratory event. And it's worth checking out, seeing if you like it, and spending your evening celebrating in a really, not to sound too woo-woo, but start your evening out in a really spiritual way. The whole intention of that structure that people have created is to celebrate in an auspicious way. Okay, so that's what I am going to be doing this year, but something I've wanted to do for some time, and I plan to do it in the future, is to have a fire ceremony on New Year's Eve. And human beings, we are actually, if you're open to it, if you're engaged with it, we are very symbolic creatures, very archetypal creatures as well. And human beings have been sort of engaging with fire for thousands of years. And there is some nice symbolism there. For instance, if you write on a piece of paper something you want to let go of, you can throw that in the fire and it will burn into ashes. And burning the paper actually releases energy, and metaphorically a new phoenix can arise. But just generally also, fire is like the life force energy within us. So I'm not going to tell you exactly how to have a fire ceremony. I think it's best that you sort of be creative within you and come up with little things that are personal to you to sort of reflect on the past year and decide what direction do you want to project your energy into for the next year. Okay, moving on now to a somewhat exciting and profound opportunity is to use entheogens on New Year's Eve, because like I just mentioned a little bit already, New Year's Eve has this added energy to it, and it can give you more clarity during a psychedelic experience to sort of reminisce on what happened in the previous year, what were the bigger implications of that, and what do you want to do in the next year. So if you're being responsible, I highly encourage you to be responsible with psychedelics or entheogens. If you're going to do that, you can just sit in meditation and almost just let the energy of reflection and the energy of the new year come through you. And it's, entheogen experiences are usually already profound, but that little extra energy from the New Year's Eve event, it can make it more clear, and it can make the memory and the insights that you have from that more solid and last longer, so that you can really just follow through on any profound breakthrough insights that you might have. Okay, so that's the third easy one. That one is also very exciting if you follow through on that. I think you might have really beautiful experiences. But for people that are not so drawn towards entheogens, which is also perfect, you might decide to do a spiritual practice on midnight itself of New Year's Eve. So if you're already engaging with a spiritual practice, you could quite simply just do that over midnight. It's going to sort of, hopefully, just amplify whatever process you're already doing, and that can just be a beautiful thing in general to give your life whatever direction you're already moving in. It can give you an extra little boost. But if you're not engaged currently in a specific spiritual practice, or nothing is calling for you in particular to do as a yoga or spiritual practice, then you could try a strong determination sit, which for people that don't know is sitting in posture and deciding that you will not move a muscle, not even to scratch your nose. You will sit in posture for a certain amount of time. And if you make your goal reaching midnight, it could be a good opportunity for you to set a new personal best. And that can just be a little fun thing to do. And once you've completed the challenge, it can make you feel a little bit good with yourself that you set a new height for what you've been able to do in terms of a strong determination sit. Okay, but strong determination sits are quite intense. If you feel like going the opposite way, maybe you don't really feel like celebrating, you don't feel like being too strict on New Year's Eve, maybe you feel more relaxed. You just want to soak up the grand energy of life in general. If that resonates more with you, you could consider connecting with nature at midnight on New Year's Eve. Perhaps you could go out stargazing, find some falling stars. If you're lucky, maybe a star will fall right near midnight. And in life, human beings, we don't actually live that many years. So in our own personal life story, every New Year's Eve seems like a quite significant event. But connecting with the stars, it just opens us up to the more cosmic nature of reality, where millions of years pass by like nothing. And it can help put our lives, our complications, the convolutions of life, can help put it all in perspective. And if I was to do that, I would really like to be at a beach at midnight, perhaps even take a bit of a swim, really refreshen yourself, but only swim at a beach if it's very, very safe to do so. So be aware of sharks and riptides and drowning. Definitely don't mix alcohol with swimming. But if you're going to be responsible, it can be a fantastic way to just open up to the more cosmic energies of life by connecting in nature, whatever way that you would like to do. I don't think anyone doesn't like looking at the stars. Maybe you could try and track down a telescope and look at the rings of Saturn at midnight on New Year's Eve. The first time you see Saturn's rings through a telescope will probably stick with you for the rest of your life. So that would be a very nice way, wouldn't it? A very auspicious, mind-opening way to open the new year. Okay, but now another idea for people that are more arts interested in the arts, perhaps like painting or drawing or even creating a song, or maybe a visual board could be a fun way, something that anyone can do. You don't need any skills to create a visual board. You could sort of reflect on the past year and reflect on what you want to do with the upcoming year and put that in an art form. You could even write a diary journal perhaps. But what's nice about creating a piece of art, something that you can sort of hang on the wall, is that it solidifies everything that you feel on that evening. Because I don't want to repeat myself, but this energy that New Year's Eve gives us, you can really reflect on the past, set intentions for the future, feel into the energy within you. What do you want to do? What does the fire within you want to do in the new year? What do you want to be? So you can really feel into that. And if you express it through art, it doesn't need to be good art, but personal art from you, every time you see that piece of work on the wall, it will remind you at minimum on a subconscious level what you felt on that evening and where you want to be going. So that's just a little idea. It sounds very fun to me. It's something I would like to do one evening, and it can be especially good if you're in a relationship perhaps or have really close friends. You could even do that as a little group. All of these suggestions actually would be great in groups, and I would highly encourage you to invite your friends along to join you. And now lastly, there is also something that I really encourage people just try in general, but New Year's Eve would be a fantastic opportunity to explore it. And that is something called an ecstatic dance. Perhaps you could Google your local city or town and the word ecstatic dance. And it's a rather interesting concept, which is dancing not to look good, but you're dancing to explore the energies within you. And these events, as I understand, always have the rules that you don't talk on the dance floor and there's no drugs and alcohol allowed on the dance floor. But when you're sort of experiencing these songs and moving to them, usually the songs are very well chosen in a conscious manner, you can feel the emotions of the past year, because reflecting on the past year is good. You can do it mentally and you can sort of be contemplative, philosophical, but with dance you can really express emotionally. What did you feel? Did you feel disappointment? You can express that in dance. Did you feel the highs, the lows? Everything you felt, you can sort of go through your mind in a storyboard, just flowing with the music, but doing it in a really expressive way. And the great thing about these ecstatic dances is because everyone is so expressive and they're not trying to look good, they're trying to access their emotions. Because everyone's in that mindset, you don't need to worry about looking silly, because tons of people around you are going to be looking silly. And also you can look into the new year, what energy do you want to embody, and then express that through dance. That's sort of, maybe I'm being too poetic here, but dancing, it sort of unlocks energies within you and can store energies within you. So if you have a really epic dance where you feel your intention strongly for the new year, that gets you off to a great start, and that energy can last with you for quite a long time. Going back to the initial metaphor of skating down a river, if you can dance and already start skating towards your goals down the river, life can just flow so beautifully for you in the upcoming year. Okay, but that's just a little list I give you as suggestions. Be creative, modify it as you like, combine things as you like, or come up with brand new ideas. But the overarching theme is use this opportunity, the extra energy of the New Year's Eve, to do something auspicious.